Hi everyone, very good morning.
Very good
So,
morning, sir.
shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Yep, yeah. Could you please confirm that is my voice is clear and I am audible and there is no background noise from my end? Could you guys please confirm or you can ping it in the chat that everything is clear?
No, sir. Your voice is very audible.
Okay, okay, no issues. Yeah, please be in the mute. So whenever you wanted to ask something or you wanted to answer something, just unmute and speak. Okay. So let me introduce myself. Okay, this is Venkat. I have total 20 years of IT experience. I started my career with as a developer with Java J2E, and then later I have been worked with multiple technologies and tools. And I have been last 10 years I've been working into the cloud and DevOps. Okay, so currently I'm working as a senior architect in one of the big MNCs. So, and coming to my training experience, last 5 years I've been teaching these different clouds and DevOps. So almost over the 30 plus batches I have been teaching these tools. Okay, so more of this aim of this training is we'll get so many in the market, we'll get so many trainers, and the major difference why we are VSRIT is here our focus is more of into how to get into the IT. Okay? So further towards it was more of real time oriented and hands-on experience, more of hands-on work will be going to teach here. Okay, so no more wastage of more theoretical, and we know exactly what to teach and what is required once you join an organization. So my aim is once you get into a job, you should be in a position to work as an individual. Okay, without depending on someone. Okay, once you complete this program, you can easily you can put an experience between 3 to 5 years, or even the freshers. Once you join into the organization, you should be in a position to work independently. Okay, that's the intention. Yeah. When coming to today's session, so today we are completely discussing only on the DevOps. Okay. Coming to the DevOps and cloud, I'll have one more session on it. So today we are not going to discuss anything about cloud. It's purely, we're discussing today about DevOps. Okay. Any idea, guys, what is DevOps? So generally, you are going to listen demo means you might have gone through little thing through YouTube or something at least from your end. Can someone tell me what is DevOps as for your understanding? Anyone here? Whatever it may be, it is right or wrong. So, what do you know about DevOps? You can unmute and speak. You can answer it.
It is a combination
Sorry,
of development and operations.
it's a combination of development and operations. Good. Any other answers? Any other different answers? DevOps is the name itself says dev plus operations. So that people are saying that it's a combination of development and operations. Other than this, do you have any other answers for this? Anyone just give it a try. No? Okay. So we'll talk about what is DevOps little later. So before that, we'll try to understand that why we are using DevOps and where we are using it and what is the need of DevOps. Let's try to understand that first. Okay. Then at the end of the session, we'll discuss about, what is DevOps. Okay. As of now, yeah, we just leave about that and we'll try to learn something about DevOps. So everybody knows that everybody uses e-commerce websites. What are the different e-commerce websites you are keep on using it regularly? Did you guys use Amazon or Flipkart usually? I guess everybody will be using it, right? Nobody will not be in a position to use Amazon or Flipkart, right? Did you guys observe that these Amazon pages keep on updating? Did you guys observe this page is? Are you guys able to see my screen? Did I share my
Yes, sir.
screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yep, yep. See, have you guys observed that any e-commerce websites like Flipkart or Amazon are you able to see these pages keep on updating? It is not fixed, right? See here,
Yes, sir.
this you can see the phone here, and this will not be there in after 2 days or 3 days or after a week, right? New launches will be coming, new offers is coming, new pages are loading it. And especially when you see the sales, right? I mean, big billion day sale, or festival sales, or year-end sales, or something. You have some offers in the sales type. That time this page is a lot of changes in this page. Okay, not only this page, any web pages, any internet, web means internet, right? Any applications, web applications, if you observe it, this is not a fixed one, right? Something is changing. So suppose now here watches are showing here, and maybe after 2 days or end of the evening, you can't see this one because they're keeping changing these things. You know what is happened in the background? How come that is replaced with the new products? Anyone? How it is coming automatically? There should be something happen in the backend, isn't it? Without happening in the backend, it won't be showing the new changes, correct? How the new changes are appearing in a website? Anyone? Any guesses? No? Right. I'll tell you that there is something new changes are coming means there is some new code has been deployed. As of now, remember deployment means suppose now here it is appearing as this one, right? Bluetooth watches. And tomorrow or end of the evening, you can able to see here a new mobile, right? You know what is happened in the backend? There should be some new changes has been deployed. What is the meaning of deployment is nothing but as of now, there is one existing code. So this all website is running on top of some server. Remember this, all these websites, Amazon or Flipkart or whatever it may be, the applications in a internet, all these applications will be running on top of some server. If the servers are stopped, your application will be stopped. Sometimes you can see whenever you open an application, you can see 500 error. You don't know what it means. In the backend, the servers are stopped. That's the reason you are not able to see the application. Right. How the new changes are coming in a website is by doing a new deployment. What is the meaning of deployment? You are just taking a new code changes and then you are deploying those changes into the website. Nothing but in a simple way, what it means is, as of now, remember, deployment means just a copy paste. Development team will write the coding and that code you are taking it and deploying into the server. So where the applications are running, first point, where the applications will be running. Any internet-based applications where they are running. Anyone? Just now I told you that all these web applications, internet-based applications will be running on top of servers, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Correct? So, and how the new changes are coming in a website? New changes, how the new changes are coming into the website? Because of these deployments.
Yes, sir.
You know what is deployment means? What is deployment means? Just now I told you deployment is nothing but a copy paste. A developer who is going to write the code, code ever rastaran. I think everybody here will be understand the Telugu, right? If you want, I can repeat it in Telugu, otherwise you'll continue it in the English. Okay. The thing here is there is a developer, so servers, applications will be running on top of servers. There are types of servers that we'll discuss a little later. And what is the meaning of deployment? Deployment is nothing but a copy paste. You just need to take a code and copy paste into where? Copy cheyalandi. Code has to be copy pasted into the server. This is what a deployment is. Now the point is, who is going to write the code? Who is going to write the code? Coding. Who will be doing the coding? A development team, right? Development team. Development team will write the code, and then that code you need to take the new code base and you have to deploy into the server so that you can able to see the new changes in your website. Is it clear what is deployment means? In the backend, if any new changes has to come in the sense, in the backend, there is a development team who has created the code base. They might be writing the code in a Java or .NET or Python or whatever it may be. That code has to be deployed into the server so that existing application will be replaced with the new changes. That's how the page is going to change in the web application. Is it clear till now? Right.
Yes, sir.
Let me show you a diagram here. See, who is going to write the code? A development. Clear till this? So, and where is your application is running? On top of server. Okay. Your Amazon website is running on top of some server. Whereas development team is writing a code base. Can I directly take the code and place it in the server? No. You know why? Let me tell you one example. Everybody knows the fields, FADI fields. FADI fields. Can we directly cut the rice from the fields and eat directly to the home? Anything from directly, you can cut it from the fields and eat it directly. Yes or no? No. Why?
No, sir.
Why?
No, sir.
We can't eat it because it is a yellow coated layer. So directly the rice is not the form what you are eating directly at the home. That is different. And the one which is in the fields are different, isn't it? So directly we can't eat directly directly from the fields. You need to process the rice. You need to cut the rice from the fields and take it to the rice mills. In the rice mills, they will be what they are doing.
Some polish.
So, yeah, they not only polish. First, they will remove that yellow coated layer. Then they'll put some polish, and they will be packaging the rice. And then from the rice mills, they will be sending the rice to the supermarkets or in the markets. From the markets, we are buying the rice and eating it, isn't it? The same way, developers will be writing the code in the form of developers will be writing the code. That code is a raw code. That raw code, if you directly deploy into the servers, servers will not understand that code. So what you have to do? You need to build the code first. Build means like either this build tool will work like a rice mill, and this code is like your raw rice in the fields. So this what build tools will do? The code will be converted. The code will be converted from the original code to the machine understandable language. The server's understandable format. The server's understandable format, it will be converted your build. And then after the build part, there will be a package will be generated. And that package, you have to test it first. And then you will be deploying code into the server. This is what happened in the background. So let me repeat the steps again. I think some background noise from someone. Natish, I guess. Yeah. See, what is happening here is directly developers team is going to write the code. Okay. This is the raw code. Directly raw code, we can't take it and deploy into the servers. Servers will not understand the code written by developers. So for that, first you need to build the code by using a build tool. This build tools will convert the code into the machine understandable languages, server understandable format, that we are calling it as artifacts or deployable artifacts. So after the build, your code will be packaged. Like after the rice mills, the rice is packaged with the pack. Why we are packaging? What is the advantage of the packing? If you wanted to send some 10 documents in an email, why you are zipping a file? If you wanted to send a huge data, you will be you will be doing zip or RAR or ER files, right? Some compressing the code, right? Your files are compressing and you're sending it. Because you need to carry the code from here to here. So for that, you need to compress the code. Who is going to compress the code? Build tool. A build tool, what this build tool is doing is, it is doing two things. One is it will take the code from developers and then it will convert the code. After the conversion, it will package the code. And that package you are going to deploy into the server. This is what happened in the backend. Whenever you see any website with the new changes, you know what is happened in the background? Some developers is writing a new features. Some developers are developing a new feature. And that has to be converted by using a build tool. And it is generated a package. And that package, you are going to test it. Why you are going to test anything? If you order something in the online, a shoe or something, will you directly use it without testing? Or if you go to the showroom to buy something, a shirt or whatever it may be, without trial, will you directly buy it? Testing is very much important, right? Without knowing the size and fitting, you can't buy the things, right? So you need to do the testing before you are going to deploy. What happens if you directly deploy the code into the website without testing properly? What happens? Anything. Without testing, if you buy a product, what happens?
Some error will happen, sir.
Exactly. Not only in this case, in software, what might happen is your Amazon website is accessing lakhs of people, crores of people. Because of your new changes, if you didn't test it properly and you deployed into the existing website, because of your new changes, the existing application might be impacted and your Amazon website might not work. So what happened if Amazon website is not working for 1 hour? You know how much loss for the Amazon website? Can someone guess for 1 hour how much loss for Amazon? It will be in the millions, right? So business is impacted. You always remember that you have to deploy the code into a tested, after properly tested, you need to deploy the code into the website. Isn't it? The testing is very much important. Because of your changing, existing website is not going to disturb it. And existing should not impact, and your new changes will be working fine after the deployment. Okay. I just discussed only few steps. Development team is going to write the new changes. The coding might be run by development team. And that code you should not directly deploy into the servers, because servers will not understand by the developers might be writing the coding in Java or .NET or Python or UI, whatever it may be. And this will not directly understand the server. So you need to use some build tools. These build tools will convert the code. After conversion of code, it will generate a package. And this, after the package, you need to test the package, and then you need to copy paste into the server. This is what happening in the background of any changes in a website. Is it clear? Anyone has any doubts here?
No, sir. Yes.
So if anyone sees something is changing in a website, you know what is happening in the backend? A deployment might happen, right? There is a deployment might happen. And then deployment means there are some new change. New change means new functionality. New functionality means new features. How do you get the new features? Some development team is writing some code that has to be deployed into the website. Directly can we deploy? No, in between you need to do build. So what we discussed here is directly after you written, development team has been written a code, you need to do the build and deploy. There are two important things you need to do as a DevOps engineer after the code written is completed. So don't worry about the coding part. You are not been writing any coding. Coding will be written by a development team. Clear? After the coding is done, your DevOps part will start. You need to take that code, build the code, and then deploy the code. These two tasks you are going to do it in the regular. Is it clear? Feel free to ask if you have any queries. If no, I can move on. Now let's discuss about the tools. What is going to use, to do these things? What are the different DevOps tools you are going to use to achieve this build and deploy? Right. Let me tell you an example. You are traveling to a trip, any trip with your friends or family. So how can all your people will be sharing a photos or videos? Commonly, where you put that all your videos, photos, generally where you store, and that has to be accessible by everyone. So usually where do you store all these things, all the stuff for a permanent position? When you went a trip when you go for a trip with your friends or family, so where do you store all your photos, videos, and that can be accessible to everybody? And where are you going to store those things, guys? ఎక్కడ చేస్తారండి ఫొటోస్ వీడియోస్ కామన్ గా అందరికి షేర్ అయ్యేలాగా, and it could be stored permanently. So where you will do that?
Instagram.
Instagram, you can't post all the photos, right? Only the one, only the beautiful photos, or only few photos you can put it, right?
Sir, in
So there
memory
is a
card,
Google Drive, right?
sir.
Drive.
Google Drive is also there, sir.
See, memory card, that is special only to you, right? How can it will be shared to all your family, all your friends? You went with trip with 10 friends, all the 10 friends has to share your files. Is a Google Drive. Everybody uses Google Drive. Suppose now I'm giving a demo where I'll store this demo and give it to all of you. I'll put it in a Google Drive and I'll give access to all your people. Isn't it? So that everybody can access my video and I can go through it. Isn't it? Yes or no? Similarly, development team is writing the code. Isn't it? There are 10 people who are developers and they are writing the code. Where they will be storing the code? They have to store the code, right? Commonly. See, I'm a developer. I'm going to write my code in my laptop. And some other developer, he will be doing the development in his laptop. But finally, where that collaborated code will be stored, that we are calling it as a repository. Where they will store the code? In a repository. What repository they are going to use developers to store the code? Developers will be written the code and commonly they will be storing the code into a repository. That repository in DevOps, we are calling it as a Git. What is that? Git and Bitbucket are the tools which is used to store the code. Developers రాసిన coding ni store చేసుకోవడానికి we are using a repository tools name called Git. Fine. Developers అందరూ కోడ్ రాసిన తర్వాత ఎక్కడ స్టోర్ చేస్తారండి? ఒక రిపోజిటరీలో స్టోర్ చేస్తారు. Why they are going to store it in a repository? Why can't it in something else? A repository is a common place so that everybody can access this coding. All the team members can access the code, like your Google Drive. Clear? So that's what developers is going to do. And as I said, directly we can't take the code from Git and deploy into the server. Then what you have to do? You have to use some build tools to convert the code. You know what are the different build tools you are going to use? Maven is a build tool which is used to convert the code. Java code directly you can't deploy into the server. You need to convert the Java code into .class code. That conversion, who is going to do it? Your build tool. What are the different build tool names? Ant, Maven, Gradle are the tools of build tools which is used to convert the code. After the conversion of code, it will generate a package. And this Maven build tool is used only for Java. Okay. And this is going to generate a package. That package will be a var ER format. Package is nothing but compressing the code. Because you wanted to copy somewhere, you can't copy the entire big GBs of code. You need to compress the code and then you need to deploy the code. So, first developers are going to store the code into the repository called Git. And you are going to use a tool Maven, which is used to convert the code. And then it will package the code. After the package, you are going to test the code. You know, Selenium is a testing tool which is used to test the code. And then you are going to deploy the code. Straight away, can you go and deploy the code into the website? My question is, straight away, can we go and deploy our code into the existing application? Yes, no? I written a code, I converted the code and everything is working fine. Can I directly go and deploy into the Amazon website? Anyone here?
No, sir.
Why? First, you need to do the proper testing, right? Where do you going to do the testing? See, directly we never go and deploy into the existing application. Existing application, you know what we are calling this? Now the Amazon is running on top of this. This environment we are calling it as production environment or live environment. Live or production means this application, wherever it is running it, we are calling it as a live or production environment. We will not directly deploy the code into the production environment directly. Then first you need to deploy the code into non-production environment. You know what are the different non-production environments? Dev environment, QA environment, UAT environment, pre-production environment. Now, why all these things? Why these many environments are required? Because straight away, if you go and deploy your code, because of your code, existing application might not work. So directly, you never deploy the code into the existing application, live or production environment. Before that, you need to deploy the code into non-production environments like dev, QA, UAT, and pre-production kind of environments. First, you deploy the code in dev. Dev team will test in the dev environment. QA, UAT staging environments will be used by testing team to test the code, which is working fine or not. And there is a pre-production environment, which is equal to the production. So it's a replica of first. All these environments, you need to deploy the code and test it thoroughly. And then you have to deploy the code into the production. Yes or no? If you go to the shop to try your shirt, will you straight away take a shirt and pay the amount and will come to the home? Or you will try for 4 or 5 models, 4 or 5 shirts, and you trial it, you check it, and after you satisfied, finally you pick one, and then you pay the amount and come back. So straight away, nobody will be, buying a things, right? First, you need to try. Not only one, you will try multiple things, and at the end, you will buy a things. The same way, if you wanted to deploy some code, you need to keep in the mind directly, we should not put it in a live environment. What happens if you put directly into the production environment? What happens is existing application might not work. So first you have to deploy the code into the non-production environment, test it thoroughly, and then you have to do the production. This is, people are calling these as operations, means operations team or infrastructure team. Infrastructure team. We talk about two different teams. Totally, there are, as of now, I'm telling you, there are 3 different teams in an organization. Development team, these people is going to write the coding. Testing team is going to write the testing team. They're going to test the code. And another team is infrastructure team or operations team. You know what these operations team will do? They will be maintaining infrastructure, like creation of the servers. So as of now, we talked about different environments, right? This team will be creating all these servers, all these environments. Okay. Any doubt here till now? Any doubt on that? So the same process, development team is going to write the code and keep it in a storage. That tool called Git tool. In DevOps, we are using a tool to storage the code is called Git tool. And Maven is the tool which is used for conversion of the code, build tool. After the build, it will get a package. That package has to be tested by using a testing team, by using a Selenium automation tool. And then you're going to deploy the code into different environments. Straight away, not into the live environment. First, you need to test it in a staging and QA environment. For this deployment purpose, you are using a tool called Ansible and Docker. Okay. Till now, I discussed a few tools. Let me summarize here. What is the tool of Git? Git tool enduku use chestanu? What is the purpose of this tool? It's a repository tool. Developers will store the code. Code store cheyadaniki use a tool Git. And what is the Maven tool? Maven is a build tool, which is to convert the code. Even just not build tool. Code ni convert chestundi, and then it will generate a package. Right. What about the next one? Selenium. What is the purpose of Selenium?
Testing.
This is a testing automation tool. This we are not going to do. As a DevOps engineer, we won't do the testing. Development testing team will do this. Coding we won't do. Testing we won't do. And then what we are going to do? We are going to do a build and then deployment. For deployment, what are the different tools we are going to use? There is a tool called Docker and there is a tool called Ansible. These tools we are going to use for deployment purpose. Any doubt?
No, sir.
And then what is Jenkins? There is one more tool called Jenkins in, what is this Jenkins? Do you guys know broker? Why we approach broker instead of directly do some property? If you wanted to buy a property, usually we'll approach a broker, right? Or if you take any driving license or whatever it may be, you are approaching some brokers. You know why? What the brokers will do? Will the broker own a property? No. Then he will talk to the corresponding teams, corresponding owners, and he will show some properties. And he is a middleman, right? Through this middleman, you are buying a property, isn't it? So Jenkins is also like this. So all these and code has to be stored in a Git. How do you get a code from GitHub? It means code ela techukuntam. Everything, this entire CI/CD process We are calling this as a build and deployment. Another name for this is CI/CD. This entire process, you can do it through or CI/CD. Another name for this is CI/CD. This entire process you are going to do through Jenkins. Jenkins is a continuous integration tool. Jenkins is not going to do anything. Broker will not do anything. He will direct, whenever, if you wanted to get a code from Git, Jenkins will talk to the Git. If you wanted to do a build, Jenkins backend will talk to the Maven, and then it will be doing the build. So entire flow, front end, you can see it only Jenkins. Through the Jenkins, you can complete the CI/CD process. So Jenkins is just a front end where you are going to write a CI/CD. But originally, where the code contains Git, how do you get a code? Jenkins, how to get the code? Jenkins will talk to the Git and get the code. Jenkins will talk to the Maven and complete the build. Jenkins will talk to the Selenium and completes the testing. Jenkins will talk to the Docker or Ansible and it will finish the deployment. So Jenkins is a front-end layer. It's a continuous integration tool. So by using this Jenkins, we are finishing CI/CD. So like Jenkins is like a broker kind of thing, if you can take in our general talk. Any doubts till now about these tools, about the process, what we discussed? Anyone has any doubts, feel free to ask. Even it is a silly question also you can find. Because everybody coming from different backgrounds. So there is no need to know. See, this is just a overview. Okay? Each and every tool we are going to discuss a week time. Git it will be 1 week, and Jenkins will be discussing about 2 weeks. So in detail, don't worry. So what is what? You just try to understand what tool is. Now my question is, how Jenkins will talk to different tools? How Jenkins will integrate with Git? How Jenkins will integrate with Maven? How Jenkins will integrate with Selenium? Anyone? There is a concept called plugins. You need to install that plugin. If you install a plugin in a Jenkins Git plugin, then it can talk to the Git. So by using the plugin, Jenkins can integrate with multiple tools. Okay, all clear? Any doubts still now? About the tools or about the process? All good?
Sir,
Yes? Yeah?
yes, sir.
No,
Yes, sir. Clear, sir. Clear.
no questions? Okay, clear, right? Okay, fine. So the same thing, another diagrammatic way. There is a Jenkins. Jenkins can talk to Git. Jenkins can talk to Maven. Jenkins talk to Selenium. And then Jenkins will be doing the deployment by using a Ansible and Docker kind of tools. Okay. So everybody is clear with this diagram, right? Okay. So there are few more tools. Do you know any other tools in a DevOps other than these tools what we discussed? Do you know any other tools? Anyone here? Other than these above mentioned tools, do you know any other tools? Sorry?
Kubernetes.
Kubernetes. Okay. Then this alternate name is K8s.
Terraform.
Terraform. Yes. Any other tools? Yes, these are the two important tools which we haven't discussed. Okay. Let's talk about what is Docker and what is Kubernetes. What is Kubernetes? Okay. Let's come to this. Docker and Kubernetes is a combination of tools. Okay. Here you're doing in this diagram, you're doing a build by using a build tool, right? So by using some build tools, then you are getting a package. Instead of this process, build tool process, you can use a Docker. Docker will be generating a package as images. So Docker is something which is used. Why we are using a Docker is simple. So Docker is, there is another way of building and deployment, another way of building a code. One way is by using a build tools, we can complete the build process. Another way is by using a Docker, you can do the build and deployment. What is the advantage by doing a Docker? Simple. Dockers are lightweight containers, so easily you can ship the code. If you wanted to deploy in different environments, you have to take that package and deploy it, right? The package is the code is in a GBs of code. The coding is a very big code that is in the GBs. And if you take the code from one location to another location, you may get a lot of issues because of the code is very high code. If you use a Docker to ship the code, Docker uses internally containers. By using these containers, you can easily ship the code. Okay, that is one advantage of the Docker is we can easily ship the code from one location to one server to another server with very lightweight. And another problem why we are using a Docker is, suppose I forwarded a video to you guys, and some of them are accessible your video in your phone, and some of them is not able to play the video. You know what might be the reasons? ఒక వీడియో ఒకరికి వర్క్ అయ్యి ఇంకొకరికి వర్క్ అవ్వలేదంటే రీజన్ ఏంటండి? What might be the reason? If I share a video, some of you people are able to access the video and some of them is not able to access. What might be the reason? Anyone? It's a general question, right?
Format of that video.
Exactly. You might not have that supported format of the video player, right? So there are some dependencies for that video. But suppose, assume that if I forwarded a video along with the video player, you install that video player and you can access the video, isn't it? The code is also, suppose your client is in US and you are in India and you are that person who has written a code in your laptop. And my laptop configuration is different. And finally, you are delivering the code to the client. Client configuration might be different. I am using Windows laptop and client is using Apple laptop. And I am using Java version 1.8 and I is using Java 11. So your code, if you copy paste your code into the client, another environment, will it support? Support చేస్తుందండి. Is the Apple phone లో ఉన్నవన్నీ మీకు Android లో support చేస్తాయి? No, right? So different environments, if you copy the code into different environments, it might not work. You know why? మీ ల్యాప్టాప్ లో వర్క్ ఇంకో ల్యాప్టాప్ లో వర్క్ అవ్వట్లేదంటే ప్రాబ్లం ఏంటంటే there are some dependencies which are missing. If you use Docker, you won't get that problems. Because if you install Docker in all the missions, so Docker will be packaging the code along with the dependencies. If I share a video along with the video player, so that everybody can install that video player and watch the video. The same way, Docker also, while shipping the code, it will package the code along with the dependencies. So whenever you ship the code in that new location, the code will be along with the dependencies. So you have a dependencies, you have a code, so that it will work anywhere. That's the advantage of Docker. So if you use your Docker uses containers, and these containers, by using this container, you can easily shipping the code from one environment to another environment. Another advantage of the Docker is it will work in all the missions without any issues if you install Docker. You know what is Docker and Kubernetes relation? Docker uses containers. Okay. Let me tell you, these containers means like your kitchen. Usually you're joining your kids to a daycare center, and Kubernetes is like your daycare center. So tell me now, what is Kubernetes? Anyone? They'll take care of the code. Docker is creating so many containers because of to ship a code easily. These containers are like your kids. And why you are joining your kids into a daycare center? Your daycare center will take care of your kids if you are busy, right? Isn't it? So Kubernetes is a tool which is taking care of your containers. It will check the health containers. It will take care. This is like a daycare center and containers are like your kids. Docker is like your kids, whereas Kubernetes is like your daycare center. So in a Docker, we have so many containers. To take care of those containers, you have another tool called Kubernetes. And here you are using a build tool to build a code. But if you use a Docker, you don't need to require this Docker build tool to convert the code. Directly, Docker itself will convert the code into the images. So are you clear with this? Are you clear what is Docker and what is Kubernetes? Yes, mute please. Rashekar, mute please. Yep. Yep. Any questions here till now? What is Docker? What is Kubernetes? Docker is like, like your kids, whereas Kubernetes is like your daycare center. Here we have a containers. These containers' health will be taken care by were Kubernetes. In detail, we'll discuss little later. Do you have any doubts about Docker and Kubernetes? Anyone here? At least you understood why we are using Docker and Kubernetes. Docker is to ship the code easily, and then dependencies will be resolved if you deploy code into another machine. So by using the containers. To take care of this container, we have one more tool called Kubernetes. Right. All good? Any doubts? No? Right. Another set of tools is, clear, right? Yes. Another set of tools is infrastructure automation. Infrastructure automation in the sense, just now we discussed who is going to maintain the infrastructure. Infrastructure ever create chestarandi? Who is going to create infrastructure? Means servers creation. There is a team called operations team. Operations team. DevOps. Ops means dev means development team. Ops means operations team. Operations team is going to create the servers, create different servers. Suppose you got a new project. For that new project, you require 200 servers. 200 servers. For one server creation, it may take 2 weeks. For 200 servers, it may take 400 weeks. If you tell that to the client, boss, I need a 400 weeks to create 200 servers, what he will say? Boss, namaste, I'll go and talk to another client. So to automate these infrastructure, we are going to use some tools. Infrastructure automation, we are going to use some tools called infrastructure automation. That is called Terraform. What is that? Terraform. And you can use this automation by using Ansible as well. And there is in AWS, there is one more concept called CloudFormation. Okay. So basically this Terraform and Ansible are using to use infrastructure automation. You no need to create a servers individually one by one. 200 servers means first one server, 2 servers, no need to do that. You write a common script, automation script. Okay. And then you execute that script. So automatically it is going to create 200 servers at a time. Clear? So infrastructure automation means you no need to create all the servers one by one. You can automate the infrastructure servers creation by using automation tools called Terraform. Terraform used to create the servers automatically. You no need to do. If you wanted to create 500 servers, at a time you can create 500 servers by using a Terraform scripting. Otherwise, another tools are Ansible. Ansible has 2 different advantages. You can directly create servers automation that we are calling another name is infrastructure as a code. By using IAC, infrastructure as a code, you can automate the servers creation. Okay. For infrastructure automation creation, we are using Ansible and Terraform. Another advantage of the Ansible is configuration management. Configuration management in the sense, if you wanted to install Java in 500 machines, will you log in each and every server and do the installation? That may take a lot of time. So DevOps is nothing but a automation. You don't need to do the installation all 500 servers. You do it in one server and automatically it will push the changes to other servers. That is what configuration management. By using Ansible, we can automate the configurations. By using Terraform, we can automate the servers. Clear? So many tools. Confusion? You tell me now, Git. Git is a repository tool to store the code. Clear? Jenkins, it's a continuous integration tool and which is used to execute the CI/CD. So Jenkins is a just integration tool. It can integrate the different tools and work is done like a broker kind of thing. Right? What is Maven? Maven is a build tool.
Build tool.
What is Selenium?
Testing.
Testing automation. What is Ansible? Ansible is a configuration management tool. Configuration management means if you wanted to install some configuration, suppose you wanted to install Java in all 500 servers, you don't need to log in each and every server and install the Java. You install Java in one common server and then you push the changes to remaining servers. That automation you can do it through Ansible. And what is Terraform? Terraform is a tool which is used to servers automation, infrastructure automation, infra automation, like creation of the servers. You no need to do individually. You just write a common script. If you execute that script, automatically it will create any n number of servers. Then what is Docker? Docker is a containerization tool. Containerization tool means by using a Docker, you can build the code and it will generate an images and you can easily ship the code and it will resolve the dependencies between the environment. And it has the containers to do all those things. To take care of those containers, you have one more tool, Kubernetes. Okay, container, take care of containers health check. Okay, containers health it will take care of. Okay, these are the tools we discussed about DevOps. So these are the different tools which are going to use in a DevOps. See, I can simply tell you what is DevOps and I can leave it. But if you wanted to learn something, you should know what is there inside. And you didn't understand anything till now, leave it. Because these things we are going to learn another 2.5 months. Okay, I'm just telling what is what, just a overview you wanted to understand. Other than this, we have some monitoring. You know what is monitoring? Why we are fixing CC cameras? Because you can't monitor all the times. In your absence, someone has to do this. That's what CC camera. And there is some more tools in a DevOps called monitoring tools. You know what these tools will do? You just configure all your servers into a monitoring tool. Like there are so many monitoring tools, App Dynamics, AppD calling, and Nagios, Splunk, and Grafana. All these things are a monitoring tools. You know what is the advantage? If you have 1,000 servers, every time can you physically log into the server and check that if the server is running or not? That's very difficult. You just configure all these servers into the tools. These tools will monitor instead of you. If any issues in the server, it will send an email or it will send a SMS or it will send an alert to you so that you can log into that server and fix the issue. Okay. These are the different tools which is used in DevOps. Believe me, it's not very tough. It's very, but number of tools are more. Now, next question is, do I need to learn these many tools? So Git is a very simple because developers are writing the code and they will be putting the code into the Git. Do you have any work here? Majority of the work in the Git is done by development. And you need to learn only few tools: Jenkins, Ansible, Docker. These three are important tools. Either Terraform or Kubernetes. These 4 tools, if you learn properly, what are those 4? Jenkins, Ansible, then Docker, and the 4th one is either Kubernetes or Terraform. This is more than enough to get a job up to 3 to 5 years. Along with this, there is one cloud. There is one cloud technology. Cloud means AWS. With this knowledge, you can easily get a job. You don't need to learn all these things. One monitoring. Monitoring tool is very simple. Git and monitoring tools are very simple. Only you need to learn these 4 tools and one cloud. That's more than enough to get a job. Okay. Any doubts still now? any doubts, guys?
No, sir.
All good? Right. So managing the changes code is very difficult if you didn't use the tools called Git. So Git is the solution for managing and tracking the code. And Jenkins is a solution to do the build and deployment. And Selenium is the automation for testing. All these are automation tools. Environment related configurations, you can do it through Ansible. Docker will resolve the environment issues. Okay, these are the tools and these are the solutions. So all these can call it as automation. All good till now? Anyone has any queries till now? I'll take another 10 to 15 minutes. Is that fine, guys? Another 10 to 15 minutes to try to understand what is DevOps. Is it clear? Is it fine to go ahead? Can I go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Yep. So now let's come to the root topic. What is the SDLC? Everybody knows, might be, what is SDLC? Software Lifecycle Development. Software Development Lifecycle. Did you guys know what is this? You might learn these things in the BTech or your degree as well, right? Let me tell you, if you wanted to construct a house, do you require a planning? Do you require a budget? Do you require a design? Design means some architecture diagram. One architect will come and give you that your house looks like this. And then you require one, builder to construct your house. Isn't it? If you wanted to do something, do you require all these things? The planning, analysis, some diagram, and the builder. Is it everybody is required or not? The same way, once you join in IT companies, you will get a project from the client, and that project, how do you execute that project? If you wanted to execute a project, you should do some steps. Straight away, you can't go and do the coding. Can you directly go and do the coding directly? If you wanted to buy a house, directly you call one maestri and ask him to construct a house here at home. Will you do that directly? Obviously, no, right? You need to know the planning, how many months it requires, how much budget it is required, and what kind of house you wanted to design. And then you have so many things you need to consider, right? Same way, if you wanted to do a project in IT organization, you should follow these SDLC lifecycle. It's very simple. Many of the people might know. Requirement analysis. First, what are the requirements you need to complete? You need to analyze all the requirements. And there is a diagrammatic way of design. First, your project looks like this, and this is the architecture, and this is the design. Design is before you are implementing. That does your building contain some architecture? Yes, that's what the design is. You need to do the design. After these requirement analysis and design, exactly here the development team will come and write the code. After the coding, testing team will do the testing and integration. And this is where your build and deployment will come into the picture. Then after your project is completed, after your house is finished, will you need to maintain your house? That's why we are paying a maintenance for your communities or apartments, right? Then after your project completion, you need to do the maintenance. These are the common steps in any of the project. You need to follow this. Whatever might be the project, you need to follow all these steps. It's a planning, analysis, design, implementation, testing, and then maintenance. These 6 phases are common for every project. And this SDLC lifecycle, there are some methodologies to implement this. Anyone knows what are the different SDLC methodologies? Anyone heard about SDLC methodologies? Waterfall methodology, agile methodology. Have you heard about these things? Have you heard about waterfall method, SDLC lifecycle? At least, do you guys know this SDLC? Everybody might be aware of. I feel that. Yes,
Software development life cycle.
Yeah, for any project, you need to follow those steps. Analysis, design, coding, and then testing, and then these have SDLC is a common term. Okay, that's a common methodology. To follow that methodology, you have some methodologies called waterfall methodology, and another one is agile methodology. Okay, to implement these projects, you have 2 different things are called waterfall and agile. You know how the water will flow? Water will flow step by step, right? Suppose there is a pipeline. If you open the pipeline, the water will flow from top to bottom, right? So if you follow this waterfall methodology, first you need to complete the requirement analysis, and then you need to finish the design. And then after the design is completed, implementation. After implementation, testing has to be completed. After the testing, you have to do the deployment and then maintenance. All these steps, you are doing it in a step by step, not parallelly. If you use waterfall methodology, no, when I was a developer, when I was in 2006 or 2005, in my projects follows this methodology. Very happy. I'm very happy. I'm a Java developer. I'm sitting here. When I'll get a work, once the project starts, If the project starts, you know when my work will come? First requirement analysis has to complete, planning, analysis, design. Till that I'm happy, I can sit ideal. Right? Every day come to the office, go to the cafeteria, play some games and go to the office. And weekly once they will put a call, boss, requirement analysis is going on, design is going on, you wait for a few days. There is no work, right? Because this has to complete if you wanted to do the coding. And you know who is lucky person? The testing person. When the testing will start? After the implementation. But this guy is recruited 6 months back. Till these phases are completed, this guy is sitting idle. See, for us it is very happy. But who is lost? Who is the person who is lost? Is he paying the money for last 6 months, but you are sitting ideal. And there is no activities happening parallelly if you use waterfall methodology. And you know what is the disadvantage here? Did anyone, by seeing this diagram, did you find any disadvantage? There is no parallel activities. Everything will be happening step by step. And one disadvantage here is you are fixing the requirements at the starting itself. See, today if there is a new product comes into the Amazon, by max tomorrow or by end of today, you'll get a the same implementation in another competitor. There is a new option coming into the Zomato. Next day you can see the same change in the Swiggy. See, now the market is very dynamic. If you follow this waterfall methodology and you are fixing the requirements at the starting, if you wanted to change the requirement analysis, it's not possible. First, you need to finish all these stages, then you come to the requirement modification again. So the disadvantage here is it will take a lot of time because each stage is first, if you finish one stage, then only you need to finish other stages. And another problem here is you are fixing the requirements at the starting. You can't accommodate the dynamic requirements at the starting. So that is the reason waterfall methodology is nobody is using now. There is no parallel activities. There is no client interaction and requirements are fixed at the starting. We can't modify the dynamic. You can't modify the requirements in the middle. So that's the reason nobody is using waterfall nowadays. You know, alternatives. You know what is the alternate? Agile methodology. Agile methodology is a very dynamic methodology. In Agile, you have different types. You can leave it, we can learn these things. What is the difference between waterfall and Agile methodologies? Instead of you do all the requirements at a time, entire project at a time, you don't do the entire project start at a time. You divide your requirements into requirement means if you wanted to do some project, you can divide those projects into different requirements. Suppose your project contains 100 requirements. Don't start all 100 requirements at a time. You split these 100 requirements into 10 iterations. So you are doing the project in a step, not all at a time. You are splitting the project into 10 different stages and you are doing these things. 10 different iterations. So Agile is nothing but you are not taking everything at a time. You are splitting the project into different parts and you are starting with the part one. You know, in the part one, what is the advantage of different iterations? That split your 100 requirements, you are splitting into 10. Each 10 we are calling it as iteration. You know what is the advantage of splitting the requirements in iteration? You have some time limit to finish that iteration. So first 10 requirements, you need to finish it in a 2 to 3 weeks. Each iteration, you have a time limit. That time limit, we are calling it in Agile as sprint. Project ni sprints కింద డివైడ్ చేస్తారంట Agile sprint కింద. ఒక్కొక్క sprint కి టైం లైన్ ఎంత ఉంటుంది? 2 to 3 weeks ఉంటుంది. Within the 2 to 3 weeks, you need to finish one iteration and you have to show to the client. So client will be happy, you know. In a waterfall methodology, client can see the update after 6 months. When he can see the final product after deployment. Deployment may take 6 months here. But when it comes to Agile methodology, you are not taking all at a time and you are splitting the requirements into iterations. And one iteration, you have to finish it in within 2 to 3 weeks. So the advantage here is you are splitting the project into different iteration. First iteration, you are doing a design. Design is completed, development is started. And what these design guys will do? Design guys will jump into the second iteration and they will start design here. And development is completed in first iteration. testing is going on in the first iteration, development will not sit idle here. They will jump into the second iteration. They'll start doing the development here. So the advantage in the agile methodology is a parallel activities is doing. Nobody is sitting idle, and they're utilizing the resources very effectively. And every 2 to 3 weeks, your project is delivered so that client can be, is spending money. You can see product within 2 to 3 weeks. And if you wanted to take any new requirement, if client asks, boss, you wanted to add this, here you have a iterations. If you say mid of the first iteration, you tell them that, boss, okay, we are going to start a new iteration in another 1 week or 5 days. We'll implement that change in the next iteration. So the advantage of the agile methodology over the waterfall is you can accommodate the dynamic requirements. You can delivering the project within 2 to 3 weeks, and all the activities are happening in the parallel. Clear? Any doubts here? Anyone? Here everything is a stage by stage. Planning, design, build, test, deploy, everything is happening stage by stage. Here, some stages, except the deployment, remaining are happening in a parallel. In a day, how many times Amazon is going to deploy the code? Anyone guess? Within 1 hour, at least within 1 hour, how many times it is going to deploy? Within 1 hour, it could be 13 to 16 times. Within a 1 hour, they're deploying the code. If you use waterfall methodology, it may take 6 months to do the deployment, 6 months to 1 year. If you use agile methodology, there are 2 to 3 weeks you are delivering the code. That means you are doing deployment 2 to 3 weeks once. Because Amazon is doing in an hour 10 to 15 times. Then how can I follow these methodologies? Waterfall, you need to wait 6 months. Agile, you need to wait 2 to 3 weeks to see the changes in a website. See, client is spending thousands of crores of money, and he wanted to see his baby, his product, as early as possible in the website. Website lo kostene kadandi, that will be productable and you will get a money. Even though he did so many things in the back end, but what the client requires? He wanted to see his product as early as possible into the website. That is possible only with the DevOps. That is possible only with the deployment. Even though you are following these methodologies, you are not delivering the website, you are not delivering the product into the website, there is no use. Then why a DevOps is came into the picture? Immediately, whenever you completed a coding, whenever you completed a testing, immediately you wanted to see the changes into the website. That fast. Nowadays, everything is a dynamic. Okay, you have to do the things whenever, how much possible it is, how much fast it is. That's the reason DevOps came into the picture. Dev is nothing but development and operations, development team and operations team. Now you see the difference between these three. Did anyone observe what is the difference here and there? These three, waterfall, agile, and DevOps. I'm not taking all the stages. I just took only 4 stages: design, coding, testing, deployment. In waterfall, after design completes, coding should start. After coding, testing starts. After testing, deployment will be done. In agile methodology, design, coding, testing will be doing first iteration, second iteration, third iteration. But when will be the deployment? Deployment is not immediately after the coding and testing is complete. It will be every 2 to 3 weeks. When it comes to DevOps, once your design is completed, coding is completed, testing is completed, then your deployment is started. Immediately after your development and testing, immediately you are doing the deployment. So this is what now the market expects. How much possible you can do this into the live environment, that can be achieved through DevOps. That's the reason DevOps is came into the picture. How can you achieve this in this much fast? How can you deliver the code as early as possible? Again, by using all these automation tools. We discussed so many automation tools. By using those automation tools, you can achieve this DevOps. So the idea of the DevOps is as early as possible, you want, once the coding is completed, coding అయిపోయిన వెంటనే ఎంత ఫాస్ట్ గా మీ అప్లికేషన్ ని మీరు లైవ్ లో చూడగలరో, that helps you. DevOps process will help you to do that. కోడింగ్ అయిపోయిన వెంటనే ఎంత త్వరగా మీ ప్రోడక్ట్ని మీ కోడ్ని వెబ్సైట్లో చూడగలరో that can be achieved by using DevOps. By using different automation tools, you can achieve that. That's the reason DevOps into the market. See here, waterfall method stage by stage. Agile is parallelly done, but deployments is not happening frequently. When it comes to the Agile with DevOps, see, deployments are happening immediately after the test. Immediately after the test. Immediately after the testing. So you might understand what is the advantage of DevOps. DevOps is a kind of another methodology like waterfall and agile. Anyone? Any doubts still here? I'm going to finish it in another maximum 5 minutes. All good? Any doubts? So just overview I'm trying to give you. We can explain everything in detail later point of time. No doubts? Guys, you guys are there?
Yes, sir. No doubt, sir. Carry on.
Yes, sir.
All good?
All good, sir.
Okay, fine. Now the problem is why DevOps came into the picture. First point is why DevOps came into the picture. So DevOps అనేది ఎందుకు వచ్చింది? Before DevOps, there are two different teams. One is a development team and another one is operations. As I said, development team is going to write the code and operations team is going to create the servers. Okay. And you need to take this code, developer's code, and you need to deploy the code into the servers. That's what you need to do after the coding is complete, isn't it? Yes or no? Right. Now the problem, when the problem comes is, developer team will be writing the code in his laptop, which is working fine in his laptop. And servers is created a servers and and the servers is working fine in his end because he has created the servers and maintaining the servers. There is no issue from his end. You know when the problem will start? You take the code from here and deploy into the servers, then the problem starts. If the code is not working in this server, then the blame game is starts. Operations team is saying that, my boss, my servers are good. Because of your code is deployed into my server, so that it is not working. So development team saying that, boss, my code is working in my place. There is some problem with the servers. That's the reason my code is not working. Then here the blame game starts. Who is going to fix the issues? Who is going to take the responsibility to complete this? If there is two different teams, so they got some fight between these two guys, then what will be the solution? Sorry. What is the solution here? DevOps. Who is going to coordinate both the teams, development team and operations team? There is a separate solution, is a DevOps is the solution to resolve this. First, let's see what happens if you didn't use DevOps. Blame games, like I said, development team and operations team will always quarrel because the mistake is from your side and the mistake is from their side. But nobody is there to resolve the issues. And lack of monitoring. If nobody is there to monitor what is going on in the build process and delivery process or release process, and nobody will be monitoring and giving the feedbacks, unpredictable issues after you deploy the code, you may get a lot of unpredictable issues. And another majorly release and deployment mismatches. You don't know that nobody is the owner who can be, for this release, we are delivering this code. There is no one is there to take care of all these things. The solution for these issues? DevOps. You can see D and O are caps in DevOps. Okay. What happens if you use DevOps? DevOps will not use separately. It can be used along with Agile. Okay. Streamline the deliverables. So what release, what code base you are sending it, and continuously monitoring and giving the feedbacks, and the team collaboration. If any issues comes, DevOps team will be involved and they will fix the issues. They will monitoring it. They'll give the feedback. They talk to the development team. They talk to the operations team. They talk to the testing team and make sure that delivery will be happening smoothly. Release will be happening smoothly. That's what the DevOps is. Now we understood what is DevOps. There is one more slide. First, let's see what is not DevOps. So people are asking, when I was before joining DevOps, people are asking, boss, tell me what is DevOps? Is it like a Java.NET? No, it's not a coding. DevOps is not a role. DevOps is not a person. DevOps is not an organization. If you see SAP, SAP has organization, SAP Labs. Oracle has an organization, and Oracle has tools. DevOps is not a separate team. DevOps is not a role, not a person, not an organization. DevOps is not a product or tool. If you take a Pega, if you take a Cognos, if you take a BA, all these are tools. DevOps is not a tool, not a product, not a coding, not a programming language. DevOps is not just writing a script. Then what is DevOps, boss? You're saying it is not a programming language, it is not a coding, it is not a tool, it is not a product, it is not a separate team. Then what is DevOps? DevOps is a best practices. DevOps is a culture. DevOps is a methodology. DevOps is about implementing the best practices with the help of tools. DevOps is about automation. DevOps is about a culture. DevOps is about implementing the agility in the information. DevOps is implementing the best practices by using tools. DevOps is not a goal. It is a never-ending process of continuous improvement. It's a process. It's a culture. It's a methodology. It's a best practices. So DevOps is not a goal. It's a never-ending process of continuous improvement. By using a automation tools, you can achieve this. All good? Who can learn DevOps? Everyone will ask me the questions because I'm from the non-IT background. Can I learn DevOps? Yes. Anyone can learn DevOps without any IT background. Okay, because you don't require any coding knowledge, you don't require any testing knowledge, you don't require any IT background as well. So this course will be started from the basics. Even if it doesn't know anything, we'll start first with the Linux basics, and then we'll be starting the DevOps. There is no prerequisites required for this DevOps. If you know Linux, it's well and good. If you don't know, we'll start from the basics. So anyone can learn the DevOps. There is no specific dependencies to work on DevOps. Okay. And here we are going to discuss, we already discussed what are the tools we are going to learn here. Starts with the Git, Jenkins, Ansible, and then Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform, and monitoring tool. In Jenkins, we will be learning so many tools like, Nexus, Tomcat, SonarQube, Maven. All these are part of Jenkins. Okay. The course will be 2.5 months. Okay. It may take more than 2.5 months. Each and every tool will be discussing in detail. Okay. That's all about my demo. I think I took more than what is expected time.